Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the Habitat Podcast here for you. I'm your host, Jared Van Hees. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have another great episode for you. It is involving everything fall food plots. So I know a lot of us have food plots in our mind right now. We're prepping, we're planting, we're getting ready, we're ordering seed, doing soil tests. This one is with Lincoln Rohn from Maxx Cultipackers. We get into a lot of good stuff on here, not just Cultipackers. We talk about his new Crimper that might be coming out in 2021, which is a Cultipacker Crimper combination. So be sure to tune in about that. We talk about Lincoln's life as a realtor these days at the new building of Packer Maxx where they're located. We also talk about what his fall food plot regimen is and what Brian's and mine are as well. We talk about how to protect your fall food plots. This was a real interesting part where we spent a bunch of time talking about how to protect your food plots from getting destroyed before fall even gets here, before you can hunt them, but doing it all on a budget. So it's really interesting stuff, guys. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for coming back once again to the Habitat Podcast, where we are here to become better habitat managers. Now, I want to talk about a couple awesome reviews that were left for us on the Apple Podcast app. So if you have an iPhone and you subscribe to our podcast, you can go down there and hit the 5-star button and type a quick review via text on there, and I'll send you guys a free decal. I have 3 more right now. I'm going to read 2 of them here, and then I'm going to get some decals out too. Timmy from Illinois. Terrific podcast. Excellent content. Great guests. Not too many advertisements or off-topic discussions. Timmy from Illinois, thank you very much. Hit me up with your address, and we'll get this decal out to you. The next one is from Big Mike 75. Great podcast. I really enjoyed this podcast. It's very informative. I've learned a lot from listening to the backlog of episodes and look forward to the new ones. Big Mike 75, thank you so much. Be sure to hit us up on Instagram or Facebook somewhere and get us your address. We'll get you a free decal for leaving that. Guys, this goes for any of you listeners out there. Just go on to the Apple Podcast app or Stitcher Radio or Spotify, wherever you listen to the show, and leave us a good review and let us know, and I will mail you a decal for free. Thank you to everybody who's done this so far. You guys are the reason, we're doing so well. So thank you very much. Now, I want to talk about killer food plots before we get this show started. I just picked up everything for my fall planting at Killer Food Plots. That included some Aqua Shield for my watering holes, some Soil Defender for some foliar fertilizer, and then, of course, the seed mixes, the Lethal Winter Oats, the Carnage Brassicas, the Deep Woods Blend, the Cold Play. I really go all out with this stuff, guys. It's high-quality seed, and just Nick is such a wealth of information. If you listen to any of our episodes with him, there's 3 or 4, and just really good stuff from a good guy and a good company. And, that's good enough for me. So check them out, guys, at killerfoodplots.com. We have a discount code for anybody who uses it. It is HP 10%. So HP 10% sign at checkout gets you 10% off and free shipping on all Killer Food Plot orders. So thank you all for who've reached out for that discount, been using it. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see how my food plots turn out this fall. I also want to talk about Stony Creek Realty. Chad Thalen, we did our trivia night with him about 2 weeks ago, and I asked him this week, what are you guys doing over at Stony Creek? What do you need help with? They need some listings, it sounds like. So if anybody's thinking about selling their farm, maybe looking to buy something bigger or maybe a little closer to home or maybe, out of state in Ohio, give Chad a call. He might be able to sell your farm pretty quick, get you top dollar, and help you guys, upgrade to that next step. I'm pretty happy with my 15 acres, but there's always that thought in the back of my head where I'm like, man, I'd like 40 or 80 or 120 or 360 or however it's going to go. Now, Packer Maxx, Lincoln Rohn, coming in strong next. Guys, we have a new discount code with them for Cultipackers. HPC25. Get you $25 off any Packer that they sell. we've always had that discount, but Lincoln's website wasn't quite set up to use a code yet. You just had to tell them you listen to the podcast. That still flies. If you call Lincoln, tell them you listen to the Habitat podcast, you'll get the discount. That's great. If you go on the website, though, he has a code HPC Habitat Podcast HPC 25. Get you $25 off the packer of your choice. And pretty excited to tell you guys about the crimper that he's got coming out next. So without further ado, let's stop hearing me ramble and get on with Lincoln Rohn, fall food plots. Brian and I discussion as well. It's a pretty good time, guys. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the Habitat Podcast. We have our most popular guest ever, Mr. Lincoln Rohn. Lincoln, how you doing tonight?
Hey, man, doing good, doing well. Not sure I'm the most popular, but hey, whatever.
Well, if I added all your downloads together per episode, considering this is your fourth time on, you might have the winner.
Well, that's good to know.
And we got Brian on the line. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Everything's going well, man. How are you doing?
Not doing too bad. You got our friend Chris with you. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Jared? Hey, Lincoln.
How you doing, man?
Not bad.
Good.
So Brian sent me a text that he's not going to be in his home studio tonight. So Brian, what you up to?
Just out glassing some fields around home, trying to locate a couple of these big boys we're trying to keep tabs on, hoping to put the puzzle pieces together for this fall. So
Very nice.
That buck you sent on that group text earlier, I don't know if he's supposed to be public or not, but he is huge.
No, that was just a something from the internet I found. We don't have any big bucks around here.
Pennsylvania killers, man.
I'm gonna have to drive out to PA one of these days.
Hey, Lincoln, you can pick me up. I'll split gas with you. Let's
right
go.
on. Freaking road trip.
No, I'm glad you guys can make time to hop on here tonight. I appreciate it. And I know, Lincoln, we've been chatting for a few days now about getting you back on here. What you been up to, man? I know you've been on here before. For everybody who doesn't know, let's hear a little bit about you, your business, and what you've been up to. I know you've been on episode number 8, episode 54, and episode 59. So,
yep.
And yep. I've loved every one of them. So welcome back, my friend. And
well, good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
the mic
good
is
to be
yours,
here, man. Yeah, it's good to be here. So it's been an interesting spring and summer. With this whole COVID mess and everything else that's been going on, and I'm the owner of Packer Maxx. If Packer Maxx Culti Packers, if people don't know, but we've been up to. I mean, it's just been incredibly busy. The demand for the product it's been absolutely unprecedented. We're having our best year ever. And I just am so thankful, for that with everything that's been going on, because I know there's so many businesses that have been struggling immensely through this. And, but we've been able to maintain, and we're knocking it out of the park. And we just, last week on July 2nd, moved into our new building, and, I know we've been talking about that for a minute, and last time I was on, we were anticipating that, and we finally were able to get it all put together and get the spot locked down, and we moved in. So we're operational, and we've been working some long hours. With this whole COVID thing, we've been backed up, 4 weeks on shipping, but we've been able to narrow that down to 3 weeks now. And hopefully by the end of next week, we'll be down to 2 weeks. And so that's been good. We're able to get more product out the door here. We got more space. and it's just more efficient. And so it's all brand new. It's clean. It's just a really nice facility, and it's not huge, but it's plenty of room for us. And hopefully we can continue to grow, and maybe we'll outgrow this place. So it's been great. It really has. It's like I said, I'm beyond blessed and blown away that we've been able to maintain this through this rough time for everybody. So
for sure. I think you're not the only company that has struggles through 2020 so far. I know I sell packaging for a living, and I mean, you guys know that, but
yep.
It was like half my customers shut down, were non-essential, and some other ones kept going. And then you get these new guys everybody's making hand sanitizer. So it's just been it's been a weird year. And I see on your website, you have a COVID-19 update as soon as, somebody hits the website to kind of give people a heads up. So nobody, is surprised if they have a 3-week lead time or something. So I like that on your website there. I saw that.
Yeah, you really got to literally click out of it to get into the website. So unfortunately, like not everybody reads, that COVID, because it's been pretty, a common, people see it all over, so they're clicking out of it. So, but I have it on each individual product too, that it's, a 3-week lead time on shipping. So it's been pretty, most people have seen it, but occasionally I'll get somebody that calls that didn't see it. And people have been so understanding through this, dude. I think that's one of the neatest things about this business for me has been the people. And, hunters they're just fantastic people. They really are. And when you explain to people what's happening with the supply chain, if they didn't see the lead time, they're like, okay, hey, I get it, just get it to me, as soon as you guys are able to. And so it's been really cool that people have been super understanding. And, and again, the demand for the product has been unprecedented. And so that you couple that with, with supply chain that's been, not exactly expedient, and, you run into some delays. So, but it's been good.
Well, honestly, a 3-week lead time is not that bad in terms of anything really. I mean, we sell a lot of plastic caps. I have caps and sprayers for bottles that I can't get. I'm quoting people 32-week lead times on stuff right now. I mean,
wow.
It's insane. So the fact that people can still get their packer before food plot season or just in time this year, that's pretty good.
Yep.
So way to hang in there and keep up the good work.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're shooting for. We're trying to, and again, we're able to make up some ground, and we're trying to get ahead of the curve, and so that people, that magic August 1st date when people start wanting to put their, the turnips and stuff in, we're hoping to get everybody, locked up by then, and then, we'll just keep firing them off after that. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know I've planned into even Labor Day before, depending on my schedule. So, that's.
Yep. Yeah, cereal grains and stuff aren't quite as critical, but a lot of people like to get those turnips in early, and let them
growth on them.
Develop. Yep. So, but it's like I said, it's been a wild ride, and couple that with trying to get everything moved into the new building and get everything, organized and set up to roll, pardon the pun. It's been cool. So we're in a great spot. Like obviously we're in Michigan, and we're just north of Grand Rapids, and we are, the new building is right off of 131 on M57. So we're right by the highway, and it's just an easy on off, and it's just a great spot. So I'm super excited about it.
No, good for you. What was the reason for the new building? Just in terms of running out of room, or like what was the reason for moving on down over by the highway there?
We just did not have any room. Like we didn't have any room to store. like prepackaged box or prepackaged units.
Okay.
And I think that was one of our biggest hangups is like now, like this winter, I'll be able to be in here. It's, I didn't even, so our old building was not heat, wasn't insulated. So we were having to hit, the frames with heat guns to warm them up to get the decals to stick and everything else. So, now we'll be able to prepackage units this winter. We'll be able to put them up in our mezzanine and store them. And then, next spring when they start ripping out of here again, I'll be able to we'll be pulling orders instead of like reacting to orders. And so
very cool.
We'll be able to service our customers a lot better. We've expanded into some food plot seed, for local people to pick up. And that's been, moving very well. We've got 3 different lines of food plot seed, some of my favorite blends. From various companies, and we're going to be a solo spreader dealer, and so we're going to have, the solo, again, my favorite spreader. I mean, I'm going to sell what I like because I know
they're
they
amazing.
work.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have, we're going to have solo spreaders. I've sold out of the ones I had 3 of them. I sold those already, and, solo backpack sprayers and, trying to get into a few, I don't have a ton of room for that stuff, but we're going to have some really key stuff on hand that people, that I know works, that people are going to, add to their program. So, and then, we've got a few units that we can have on display so people can kick them, touch them, feel them, look at them, before they buy them. And so, yeah, it's a good thing for us. So.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying your new digs over there. Being right by the highway is pretty awesome. And solo spreaders, shoot, I've been using those for a long time. Those high quality stuff. So, are you guys?
Oh yeah, love it.
What else you guys can get into over there? Do you have? I think you said you have some food plot seed or something else. What else are you guys doing over there?
So we're gonna have. So I think Nations Creations Habitat Hook. I think they're a sponsor. Also,
yes, they are.
Aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So Nick's. I had a couple, and I've already sold those. Matter of fact, the very first customer that came through my door here bought one, and so we're gonna have some habitat hooks and food plot seed. The solo spreaders. I'm trying to get in some sort of a water hole. A portable water or a man-made water hole, like the Earthwave line water hole. I bought one from Nick, and I'm telling you, they are awesome. And if I could offer them locally, I think people would really like those things. The deer they're so natural. It's crazy. They were using it the first day, and that was when there was water all over the property. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. We just talked about watering holes and ponds and the type of situation on the podcast just last episode, or 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
So that's be a nice little. Those Earthway ones are pretty darn nice.
Yeah, they're super nice. They're just very natural looking, and I've got deer standing right in standing in it. So it's kind of neat. So, but yeah, other than that, it's gonna be mainly the Packer Maxx. But again, if somebody's stopping in to pick up a Packer Maxx and they need seed, obviously, why not make it a one-stop shop and get them taken care of? So,
for sure.
So, Lincoln, with all that you got going on, not that you have room on your plate for anything else, but tell us a little bit about the realtor business.
Well, so I and it's kind of funny because I sold my first property on the Friday before they closed everything for COVID. So, and I wasn't even allowed to practice real estate during that time, and so in all honesty, I haven't really been able to do a lot with it, just because of the lockdown. And, now that they were a couple of weeks ago, they opened real estate back up. Obviously we're working that, but, I've been so busy with Packer Maxx that I really, I really haven't had an opportunity to do a heck of a lot with it. Now, I'm getting a lot of people, several people that have reached out and said, hey, keep your eyes open for properties. There's a lot of good properties out there right now. So I think that's probably going to start taking off again too. Now that things are open back up. So yeah, I'm selling real estate for Stony Creek property, and we're looking at, hopefully, Chad is, I believe, we're also a sponsor now of the podcast.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
And so with Stony Creek, hopefully, in the very near future, we're going to be able to have a reach into Ohio and possibly Indiana. So we're pretty excited about that. And it'll just expand the offering, and we'll be able to, we'll be able to reach down into those states for people that want to, get out of Michigan and, kind of expand their horizons. So that's going to be a great opportunity for us too, moving forward. So.
Yeah, things have been slow around here too. I got my farm up for sale, and we've had a few people look, but I noticed since the restrictions are starting to lift, we're getting a lot more interest. So hopefully that'll be picking back up for everybody here soon.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so, because I think it's a great opportunity too, for connecting people to to their dream properties, and that's it's just a lot of fun when you're that. And again, I've only sold one, but it's cool to bring people to these properties and show them and get to walk them and learn different things about different properties and connect people with that dream property that they've been looking for so hard. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, Link, I was pretty excited to see you jumping on there with Chad, and congratulations on that first sale. It's I'm sure that was a nice feather in the cap, So good for you.
Yep. Hopefully there's many more to come. So like I said, the timing of it was just bad because all of a sudden we start rocking and then boom, we get the carpet jerked out from underneath us but it's slowly getting put back under. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that ball rolling.
Timing for you and everybody else, right? I mean, it didn't help anybody. So I think
it was just a bad deal all the way around. So
yeah. Well, the reason we wanted to chat tonight was food plots, summer, fall food plots. You and I have been texting a little bit. I was out in my property today. I was checking on some clover that I hit with clethodim about 3 weeks ago. Killed some grasses out of there. I hit some glyphosate today. Working on a little kill plot and just getting the first spraying done for fall. I know, planting time's going to be here before we know it.
Yep.
What have you been up to in the food plot woods?
Well, my food plot time has been very limited because of, the Packer Maxx thing being absolutely crazy. And so we are running behind schedule, as it was very typical. And so we're scrambling a little bit, but what we've done, the nice thing is the way we do it, in the fall is we plant our cereal grains in our hunting plots, and we always top seed them with Northwoods red clover, and you've got the following spring, we've got all that red clover pops. We use red clover just because it's very tolerant of our soils in sandy Newaygo County soil here in Michigan. So it works really well. And so then we basically
is that a perennial or is that an annual?
Yeah, it's perennial. Yep.
Pops
it's medium red
perennial.
clover.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Pops in the spring. And so So we have those rye heads coming up in the spring, or winter wheat heads, and then we've got all that rye growing amongst, those rye heads, or all that clover growing amongst the rye heads. So the deer really, really like those. They just feel so comfortable feeding in that taller rye heads with all that clover down below. Plus it does help to kind of shade out that the clover, to keeps it from drying out in this hot, nasty heat that we've had. So so I've been fortunate in that regard, where I haven't had to do a lot of, spring plot, because we've got all those clover plots kicking. And then, we have treated them. We've mowed a couple, and then I treated one with clethodome. And then another plot that we have, Jeff Sturgis has been such a huge advocate for, my company, and for, this no-till system that he put together. And so we did experiment. We've done some experimenting with no-till, but we're doing the buckwheat system this year. And a couple weeks ago, we went and sprayed my pond plot. I call it the pond plot. It's a 1 acre plot right by our pond. And I hit it with glyphosate and a clethodome mixture, and just nuked it. And so now, I have to wait a couple of weeks, because you can't plant after you do the clethodome right away. So we're waiting another week, and then I'm going to plant my buckwheat and get that going. And hopefully by that first week of September, I'll be able to get 8 or 12 or around a foot of growth out of my buckwheat, maybe a little more. And then we're gonna broadcast everything into that buckwheat and crush it down with the Packer Maxx, and we'll see what happens. So
okay,
I'm excited about trying that.
I have a couple quick questions for you. Let's break that down a little bit.
Yep.
The clethodome, how long does that stay in the soil for, residually before you can plant? Is it a couple of weeks, or?
I'm told you should wait 30 days after spraying.
Okay. Good to
replant.
Know.
So
good to know. Okay.
Yep. And
then,
then
go ahead.
It really gives you a good burn down when you mix it with glyphosate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like we have this grass. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. We call it swamp grass, but this stuff is so prolific, and it just is a pain in our butt. And when we just hit it with glyphosate, it just does not. It comes back, and when we mix clef with glyphosate, it nukes it. And so we're hoping by using this no-till system that we're not going to be regurgitating all that seed in the seed bank from that grass, and that's one of the biggest reasons why we're trying, this is just to try to eliminate some of that grass and that we battle so much.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how that works out. I know Jeff's been using it for years. We've done a kind of a modified program of that with just that swamp grass. We killed it when it was about a foot tall, and then broadcast our seed and our fertilizer and lime into that, and then just pack the snot out of it. And back and forth, we did the like a checker or a tic-tac-toe pattern, and it really worked well. So I have no doubt that this buckwheat is going to be a game changer. Plus, we're sandy Nuevo County soil, so we need to get that organic matter. We need to start building our soils from the top down, and I'm really starting to buy into that a lot. And you're not. And if you do till, we're like some of the plots that we're tilling, we're only setting that tiller, so it's only going in an inch or two. It's not getting in much. And I really think that's important for that biodiversity in your soil, to keep from destroying that. So.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct on that. I know I'm in the same boat, and I'm doing the same sort of program this fall. To an extent, I don't have Sturgis's program memorized, so help me out here. Why are you planting the buckwheat, a month or 3 weeks before you're going to roll it down again? What's the point of that versus what you said just a minute ago where you killed and sprayed your swamp grass and laid that down as the thatch?
Well, the buckwheat is, it's probably one of the best, basically thatches that you could, because it's stemmy, and it's not, and then there's a lot of organic material with it. You get that green matter, and once you lay it all down, that's all going to break down, and it's not going to put too much, shade down on the soil either. So you're still gonna have, you're not gonna smother your seed, basically.
Okay, I got you. So it's kind of a perfect mulch layer type crop to lay over your planted or your broadcasted seeds.
Yep. And then again, you're putting that, you're putting all that organic matter, and buckwheat is a great soil builder. As most people know, that it's just, if you want to improve your soil, plant buckwheat. And when you're laying it down and just letting it decompose on the surface, like I said, you're building your soil from the top down, and you're not disturbing all the microorganisms and the earthworms and everything else. So and I'm I own a food plot company. My main product is is the Packer Maxx, obviously, but I'm still learning as I go too. So I don't ever claim to know everything, but I certainly have tried a lot of different stuff, and I've learned by trial and error. And I've been through the University of Hard Knocks with food plots, and I don't always do everything right, that's for sure. But I sure have learned a lot along the way. But I'm always willing to learn and try new things too. So.
Well, I think you're on the right path based on everything I read, talk to people about, and watch, and et cetera. I know we talked with Chad from Stony Creek on the trivia last week, and we covered this stuff fairly in depth. And I'm doing the same this year. I'm leaving my clover plot where it came up from last year. It's looking really nice. I'm going to leave that, and the rest I'm going to try to use my packer as a roller crimper and just broadcast and no-till, if you will. I've done it in the past, and it has worked, so I know it'll work. It's just you have to get that rain.
You've had some pretty good luck with it. Yeah, you've had some good luck with it, and I think one of the things too, like right now, like the last year was, everybody had this. It was super wet last year. Well,
right.
I'm going to say, by and large, most of the time, it's the opposite problem. It's always a lack of moisture that people struggle with. And by doing that and not tilling your soil and laying that thatch down over it, I think it was Grant Woods who did he took his thatch and pulled it aside and took one of those temperature gauges.
Yes, he did. Yep.
And I forget what the temperature difference. It was like 40 degrees difference from bare soil to the soil underneath the thatch. And that got me thinking, like, when I'm just, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with tilling your soil and planting. And I'm going to say probably 80% of your food plotters, that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to till their stuff in, and they're going to broadcast. They're going to pack, with the Packer Maxx, and they're going to have great plots. But just trying to improve the soil textures and everything else. I think this is a really good way to go. So.
Yeah, so I think a lot of guys are, they're going to stick to the conventional way because they have the tools. They know it works. It doesn't look all weedy. It looks pristine. It looks wonderful. And I still have my disc ready to go. I'm in the same boat. It's just it's sandy soil.
Yeah, we just spent a whole pile of money last year on a brand new Woods tiller, and we bought the best tiller, in my opinion, money can buy. so that we didn't have to worry about it for, hopefully 10 or 12 years. But, we're still going to use it. And, we're just maybe using it in a little bit different fashion, with light tillage. And I still like tilling my lime and my fertilizer in. I still like doing that because I know that, when you just broadcast nitrogen onto, the soil, it can evaporate and you can lose some of it. So I like tilling I till it in a little bit. So, but again, we're trying some new stuff, and I think it's going to work out really well. And I don't think there's a one size fits all for everybody. I think everybody is going to have a little bit different situation. So I think you got to kind of adapt and try some different stuff. So
Now, what type of seed mix are you throwing into that thatch besides the medium red clover? Anything else?
So I'm a huge fan of cereal grains. I always have been. I think a lot of times people try to get a little too fancy with their food plot blends, and I just love a winter rye is a workhorse. I always like to have some winter wheat in there and oats. And then 5-2 Outdoors has this. It's called the grain bin, and then they also have wheat, rye, oats, and then peas. And then I'm gonna use that, and I'm still gonna top seed with red clover. So, and then pack it in and call it a day.
Very nice. Yeah, I know Dale's been working hard on some good mixes down there over at 5-2, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's got some good, and then it's good quality seed. So, we're carrying that as well. So there's a lot of great food plot companies out there, and I try to, I don't use specifically one food plot seed. I mean, I use a few different types of seed and from different companies. Like I've always liked I think I mentioned this before. I like that Green Patch Plus from Biologic, and
right.
It's a good blend, and I've had really good success with it. The deer seem to really, really like it, and I always add my cereal rye into that blend, and man, it really is done well. So, but Dale's, that grain bin is very similar to that, and then I just add my own red clovers, and I'll probably throw some brassicas in there just for kicks too, but get that little extra tonnage. But yeah, so there's just I'm not a one food plot seed guy. I think there's a lot of really great seed out there, and I think everybody's got a different soil texture, and different seeds that are going to work really well for them. But by and large, that for my hunting plots, I love cereal grains, and they stand up to browse pressure really, really well, which we struggle with because we do have a high deer density, higher than we like. We shoot the crap out of our does, and we still got too many. So that's one of the things that you and I had talked about was, food plot protection, and how guys have been protecting their food plots from being overbrowsed and letting them, especially turnips and beans, how they protect them to keep them from being overbrowsed. So.
Yes, and I wanted to get into that for sure. Right before that, I want to hear from Brian. I'm curious to what Brian's been doing on the lease down there in Ohio. Link, I'm not sure if you've heard or not, but Brian has got onto an Ohio lease, Southern Ohio lease. He has his Northern Ohio property.
I heard.
Yeah, he's strutting all over town with that chest puffed up, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Hey, Brian, why don't you tell us about your sweet honey hole lease you got down there and how you're food plotting it this year?
Man, I don't know if you can put any more pressure on me. I'm going to have to really come through this year, or I'll be doing the walk of shame, no doubt.
Right.
No, it's been slow down there because we had a good month of no rain. It's been really dry here. and we were trying to get some late beans planted. We decided not to because we didn't want to take the chance of them not germinating and then germinating too late. So we decided just to hold off onto that. The alfalfa, I haven't checked on it lately. I'm hoping with that thatch layer from the when we sprayed it and then broadcasted it that it kept some of the moisture there. And we're probably going to do, those tried and true fall mixes that I like. I really like that rye and oats and red clover and groundhog radish mix. That's always a good performer for us. And we've got 2 other spots to plant down the lease for that. Also, my buddy Chris that's with me tonight, he's got permission on a property just down the road from our homes in Pennsylvania here. And there's I guess it's about a half acre. We just got permission to put a half acre plot on this guy's property and probably do that similar mix there. And that's probably going to be about it. We're going to be short on the grains, but we'll do the winter grains for sure. The rye and the oats ought to keep that attraction going for us late, and the radishes hopefully we'll pull them in later for sure.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Solid plan. Have you guys? So how was your screen doing? And I got to tell you, we got and again, it's a whole timing thing, but we planted our screen this year, and it rained one time, and it germinated, and then it hasn't rained since. And it is, I'm going to call it almost a complete loss.
Really?
Yeah. So how's your screen doing?
Brian, are you planting any down there? Any border patrol or anything?
Yeah, I got some border patrol going at my 40 that's up for sale. It's kind of funny you talk about timing and the weather patterns. Last year, I was dealing with all kind of grasses in mine, and I couldn't spray them, obviously, because it would kill all the stuff that's in the screen. And this year, with the lack of rain that we had in the spring, I was battling ragweed, but that was an easy fix. I just hit it with 2,4-D, and that gave that screen a real good jump, and I hit it with some nitrogen right after that. So it's not doing too bad.
Yeah,
good deal. That's good to hear.
I'm moving into Cave and Rock switchgrass for all my screens from here on out. But I do have a friend of mine who we're writing a habitat plan for and whatnot, and I got some Border Patrol, which is an annual screen by Killer Food Plots, put in. And it took about a week before it rained, and we're putting it in soil that's been worked beans, corn, for the last, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys know that soil I'm talking about. You pick it up, it's like gray, and it's just crumbles, and there's nothing to it. So that's what we planted it in, and it was probably about, probably a month ago already, and we're about probably 2 foot on a lot of it. We planted about a half acre of it, and that stuff just loves the dry heat though. So obviously you need that rain every now and then, especially off the bat, to germinate and to come up. We've had 2 or 3 rains, but that heat as well. I mean, that stuff, as Nick always says, it just takes off in the heat. And while you think it's a slow start, by the time August and September gets here, it's usually looking pretty good. So we're sitting okay at the moment, but I wish my switchgrass looked a little more looked a little better than it does. It has a little more competition in it than I'd like it to for year one. So I think I'm gonna have to hit that with some 2,4-D come August 1st. But screens are important. It's very good to get them in.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm it's killing me that we're not. I mean, like I said, we're pretty much a complete loss. And then what did germinate, the deer have moved in and nipped the tops out of it, and so I don't know. I don't know that we're going to get anything. So it sucks because, we've got like our 4-acre plot. We like to cut that down into 1-acre sections and have a kind of a, give a lot of nice edge. And it's just not going to happen this year. So, and it really sucks. And so one of the reasons we like doing that is because the bucks have to literally go through and check, they have to travel through those sections to check for does when they're cruising. And otherwise right now they can just step out under the edge of the swamp and take a peek and, on their merry way. So I'm really disappointed that we're not going to have any screen, or at least it's not looking like we're going to.
So Brian, here's a question for you. Brian kind of got me on to using Egyptian wheat as like a screen saver. No pun intended. I don't know if it's too late for that or if that's even an option. Brian, what's your thoughts on that? You remember you telling me about that?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit late for that, especially as far north as you are. It'd be kind of tough to get anything of any height at this point.
Yeah, it'd be tough. We thought about replanting. I have a, because we don't use a full bag. Like I had, a bag of or the rest of the border patrol left, and I was gonna throw some in there. And my buddy's like, I wouldn't even waste your time at this point. He said you might get knee high, and I said, well, it'd be a little edge, I suppose, if nothing else. And so hopefully we can get something going, but yeah, it's too bad. So, and again, it's a whole timing thing. If we'd have planted it 2 weeks prior, we had all kinds of freaking rain, it would have been perfect. And then you get that dry heat that it likes so much, man. We'd have been sitting solid, but that's the problem with food plotting. You do it when you can, and that's why you have to kind of stack the deck in your favor and anytime you can, and the timing just did not work for us this time. I've often said, if you want a dry, like if you want things to dry out, just have me plant something, and it won't rain for at least a month. I'm not lying, dude. I'm telling you, if I plant, you better get us ready for some hot, dry weather.
I'm gonna write that down. Don't call Lincoln to plant my food plots. Okay. Got it.
Right. Don't let him know you're planting.
Well, you mentioned something there that the deer are coming in and nipping the tops off your screen, and you kind of touched on it earlier before I wanted to talk to Brian real quick. Let's talk about how to protect your food plots while getting them established or getting them growing up for this fall. Go ahead and lay it on me. What are you doing to protect yours, and what are you seeing these days?
Yeah, so this is a question that I see a lot on food plot pages on Facebook. What are you using to? Because we've all had it, especially with with soybeans or turnips, brassicas. Now it depends on where you're at with brassicas. Like I know down here in southern Michigan, it's not as big of a problem with turnips. They just don't touch them, in the early growth stages. But up by us, in Nuevo, we plant brassicas, man. They're pounding them as soon as they're 4 inches tall. And so we've gone to I've got a couple of different videos out there on my page, but we've gone to a dual perimeter electric fence setup, and I get lots of questions about how how that works and how to set it up. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to kind of touch on that for a little bit, just because I know it's a problem with over browsing early on turnips and beans. A lot of times they don't get they just never get a chance to grow because the deer just mow them down. So, so with that said, we do, I know there's a couple different systems out there, but we've done our own. We buy the fiberglass stakes from Tractor Supply, the ones with the black tabs on them, and then the foot, it's got a little foot, push, so you can push it in with your foot into the ground. So we bought just a whole bunch of those. We actually have enough to go around 4 acres, and
wow.
Yeah, and I mean, if we don't do it, we will not have a turnip crop. They will annihilate every turnip plant in that field in 3 to 4 weeks. And so the first year we did it, we only had the outside perimeter wire hot. So you use the electric tape, the electric fence tape. We usually get 1/2-inch tape, and then the outside strand you put at about 15 inches off the ground, 15 to 18 inches off the ground, and then you go in 36 inches. You put your next stake, and then you put that stake 36 inches off the ground. And then we also, instead of just with using that tape, instead of just spooling off so that it's flat, we actually let it come off the spool off the end, like if you were doing a spinning reel on your fishing pole. You just you take your line that peels off the end, because we want that twist in that line or in that electric tape, and you get a corkscrew effect with that on the slightest breeze, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess maybe run it by me for me one more time. So you're hitting these stakes in. Are you doing 2 rows, or are you offsetting them?
You're doing 2 rows. So
okay.
This is just how the spacing that we use. We use 15 paces in between stakes. If
okay.
Once you go around the perimeter, and then you put, basically we just take another stake and lay it down, because that's about 3 feet, and then you put another stake at the tip of that one.
Okay.
So you got 2 stakes, one outside, one inside, and then we do it every 15 paces.
Okay.
And then you take your 1/2-inch or 3/4 inch, whatever you prefer, electric tape, and then you spool it. You let it come off the end of the spool instead of putting a stick through it and spooling it that way.
Yep.
Because then it's twisted, and then the slightest breeze gives you that corkscrew. And your main objective is to screw with these deer's eyes, and so they get that little corkscrew action, and then they have a dual perimeter. So you've got the outside tape at 18 inches off the ground, and everybody's going, well, what's that going to do to keep a deer out? Well, their depth perception is horrible, and so they actually have to. They don't know how far to jump, so they nose up to that outside wire to try to gauge it, and then they get smoked.
Gotcha.
And
I'm getting it now.
It's game over. They will not cross that, and so they won't jump it because they don't know how far they got to jump, and then they get electrocuted when they do try to figure it out. And I was freaking out because we do not get very many 10-point bucks, like maybe one in 10 years on our property. We get 8s and 9s and 7s, and 10 points are very hard to come by. And so one of the first 10-point bucks that we've been able to lock down walked out in the field just after we put that dual perimeter electric fence up, and I'm like, oh no, we're going to lose this buck. He's gonna get smoked, and he's never going to come back. So he noses up to the outside wire. He gets smoked, takes off like a bat out of hell. And I'm like, well, that's the last time we're going to see him. And I'm like, crap. That's not what I wanted to happen. And 15 minutes later, he was back in the field grazing on the clover behind the turnip field. So,
wow.
So it was like, okay, well, that's good. That showed me what I needed to know. And then not one in the 45 days, 50, no, it was actually probably closer to 60 days that we had that fence around our turnips. We never had one single deer track in that turnips field.
Wow.
And we had some of the most beautiful turnips you've ever seen in your life. I mean, they were just incredible. And had we not protected them, it would have been a field of dirt, because once, the plant's gone, that's it. And
sure.
And we've done the same thing with, with soybeans. to where we planted them, and they move in and they just annihilate the whole field, and you get some straggly little beans, and that's about it. And then you protect them, and next thing you know, you got thigh high beans that are just covered with this high protein vegetation, and then you can turn them loose on them, and then they obviously they put some browse pressure on, but then you still get a really good bean pod too at that point. So
sure,
it's really worked well for us, that dual perimeter electric fence. And we use a deep cycle battery and then put a solar charger on it. And one of the big keys once you get everything placed is to make sure that you use like 2 really good ground rods, because if you don't ground them and ground them well, they won't operate effectively. So, and then another trick is we like to use a fencer that's like a 10-mile fencer with at least 2 jowls.
Okay.
If they nose up to it, you want them to get hammered. So.
Now, Lincoln, is that like a? Go ahead, finish your thought there.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
I was just curious if that was like a kit that you bought that's all all inclusive, or is that something you pieced together from like the farm and fleet store?
Yeah, we pieced it together from Tractor Supply. We got our fencer there. And I actually bought my fencer tape on eBay. You can get like 1,340 foot spool of it for like $40. And
wow.
And then the fiberglass stakes that you buy at Tractor Supply, they're like $1.98 a piece. And I think that we bought somewhere around 100 of them to go around 4 acres at 15 foot. You got 2 stakes every 15 faces. And
gotcha.
I think we bought somewhere around 100 of those. And then you got a marine. I just took a marine deep cycle battery, from the like AutoZone, and then put a charger, solar charger on it, and it just trickle charges it, and it just works like a champ, man. It really works well. And we did use the plot saver tape for a while, but once our deer figured it out, like I could spray it and go into the cabin and look back out in the field a half hour later, and there'd be deer walking under the fence. It's like, okay, well that didn't work. And,
right.
So then we had to upgrade to this electric fence. And I do not know how our farmers grow anything in our area. I really don't. Well, they don't. There's very few farm fields around, but how they get anything to grow, I don't know. I mean, it's just insane, especially beans, because the deer just annihilate them things, and our turnips too. So, so I do understand how farmers are frustrated with deer sometimes.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But it's been a really good system that's worked well for us. And again, a lot of people ask me, well, when you take it down, how long does it take for the deer to move back in? Well, about 1 day is the answer. You take that fence down, and they're looking at this incredible field of beautiful forage, and they'll walk right into it and start eating. It has not. I mean, we have had no negative effects after we take the fence down whatsoever. So
Link, total ballpark to fence in. I know you bought enough for 4 acres. How about 1 acre? What are we looking at for that? Would you put us in a ballpark?
Time you buy the fencer, tape, the battery, like 1,340 feet. You'd have to calculate your perimeter. Might get you around it twice, because you need to go around it at least twice. Now, last year or 2 years ago, we actually bought enough tape to do an outside strand and 2 inside strands. So you got one at 36 inches and then another one down at 18 inches. I can't say that it worked better than when we just had the 2 strands, the one on the outside and the one on the inside, or not. But I'm going to say for an acre, you'd have, I'm going to guess probably around $300.
That is not
that's
bad
not
for
bad.
1 acre.
No, and if you, like I said, if you buy your tape on eBay, I mean, it's cheap. Like I said, you 1,340 feet for $40, and then those stakes at TSC are, like I said, I think they're around $1.90 or $1.98, something like that. And then you can get a fencer for $125, and a battery. I mean, you could take the battery out of your trolling motor battery out of your boat for this fall if you want to. You know what I mean? Like. It doesn't have to be any spectacular battery. It just needs to be a deep cycle that'll take a trickle charge off a solar panel. And solar panels are, you can buy a decent solar panel for $20. So,
No,
so it's
that's
not
awesome.
a huge investment. And the nice part about it is too, is once you take it down, we built a little spool that goes onto one of our cordless drills. And we just walk along with the cordless drill and spool it back up. It works
Very nice.
like a champ. So we're able to reuse it, year to year. And, I mean, it's been a game changer for our, for any time we want to plant, soybeans or turnips that we don't want them to be overbrowsed. And, like I said, we shot 13 does one year, not too long ago. And it barely put a dent in our doe population. Just, for whatever reason, people in the area don't shoot a lot of does, unfortunately, and they shoot a lot of little bucks.
Yeah, that's another story for another day there. I hear you there. Yeah, I grew up hunting over there, so I understand. Now, answer me this. When you get the fence all hooked up, who's the lucky guy who gets to grab it and see if it works?
Well, I've got a little video of me doing that as well. And I went to the opposite side of the field, and the fence it pulses. And so the first time I touched it, I was like, "Oh crap, it's not working." So then I reached down and touched it again, and then I got rocked. So yeah, it's working.
All right. Great to know. I think that's pretty important. I know if I could get myself some soybeans planted and done right, which I haven't had the guts to try yet, and I could fence those off, it could be pretty deadly come December.
The other thing you can do with that, Jared, is you can, once your beans, if you get a really nice bean crop and some good pods going, you can broadcast cereal grain, like the rye into that once it starts to defoliate.
For sure.
So then you've got a double whammy, or you can even add in some, you could add in some brassicas and get some, some good green in there too, and maybe some clovers, whatever. And so you'll have, great bean pods for later season. Plus you'll have that green attraction too. So.
No, that sounds pretty great to me. Yeah, the only issue I have is after gun season, after week 1 of gun season, it's pretty desolate for a few around there. So I have to wait for some pressure to let up, some cold weather, and then at that time it's kind of a gamble. But no, I'm glad you brought that subject up the other day, and I think that's a budget ready way to do this thing, and we're all about that. I mean, we all have
for sure
lives and wives and kids and everything else to pay for, so I appreciate that.
Lives and wives, and it's a great way to do it. It's not a super expensive. You're going to have a little investment, but that investment's going to last you several years too. And in the benefits of it, like I said, I see that question so many times. I've shared my video of my dual perimeter electric fence. I've shared that video, I bet you 200 times with people that ask me about it. And, it's so simple. And you think, why does this work? But it works like a charm. It really does. And the deer just, there's no, like I said, there's no negative effects, down the road once once you take that down. I mean, they're right back on it. I mean, they're not stupid. It's a great food source for them, and they're going to get right after it. So
Jared brought up the point about planting beans the right way, and I think you might have an answer for that, Lincoln. What do you got going on in the works here at Packer Maxx for something maybe we can crimp or get Jared some nice seed bed for his broadcast beans?
Well, Jared and I, this goes back, I don't know, a year or two ago, when Jared started using Packer Maxx in a crimping fashion.
Correct.
And we got our hands slapped for calling it a crimper when really we didn't call it a crimper.
The word police.
But right. And so but what we've got going on is we are this and we're going to do this over the winter, just because right now obviously it's a crazy time of year for us, and we're not going to have time to put any time into it. Now, earlier this year we did launch the wheel kit for the HD, the Packer Maxx HD. And so that was been a huge undertaking to try to get it designed and prototyped. And as simple as it seems, you have to make sure everything's right. You have to make sure it's going to withstand, the weight. And so we got that launched this year. So we have the wheel kit, which is a great addition to the product. And it's been going, we've been selling them like crazy. And so with that same type of design in mind, we're gonna actually start working on a crimper, an actual crimper cage that's going to mount above the Packer Maxx drum, and then you literally would flip it over just like you would with the wheel kit, and you're going to be able to use that as a crimper, and you'll use the weight of the water-filled drum to as your weight for the crimper. And you'll be able to transport it to and from your, you just have to pull it, on the drum to and from your food plot area. But then, so I'm really excited about it. We've got some designs in mind, just some, just super, simple hand drawings that we've been kind of looking at with my designers, and, they're going to have to obviously do the engineering and figure out, what's thickness of metal, and how we're going to do this crimper cage light enough to where I can still put it in a box and ship it across the country, and it's going to have to be at a price point. We're going to try to keep it at a great price point where you're going to be able to get into it, and then also add it to an existing Packer Maxx heavy duty unit. So if you have that unit already, you'll be able to add it to it, and which will be a huge benefit. And so you'll have a Cultipacker, crimper, all in one. And we're super excited about getting this thing designed and out there, because I think it's going to be very well received and a very useful tool for exactly that. So
yeah,
we'll
I think Brian and I are going to have to sell our standard units and move on up to the HD for the crimper. Darn it, Lincoln, you just cost me like $800. Shoot.
I know a guy that could probably, hook you up, but
no, I think the fact that you're innovating, you're seeing a need in the market, which, we talked about.
Yep.
We talked about making a new mold for your Packer Maxx drum, essentially. And that's, if anybody knows plastics or any sort of molds are not cheap.
Nope.
But the fact that you came up with an idea to go in addition to the Packer is pretty darn sweet. If anybody's seen, yeah, you bet. If anybody's seen the video, I put up a video on our Habitat Podcast YouTube about using the Packer as a roller crimper. Again, more of a roller, not a crimper for anybody who's picky. I think I put ATV roller crimper using Cultipacker was the name. And
yep.
There's like a couple thousand views on that. So you obviously know there's a need out there for people who are trying to get into this and do it affordably. And not only are your Packers affordable, but if you have a Packer crimper combo, and then you have maybe a solo seed spreader or an ATV sprayer, you're set up, period, done. to
Yeah,
go.
you're golden, man. You can do some great food plots with that combination, and and still do your, I mean, you're going to be doing your soil some good. You're going to be, adding to that organic matter. You're going to be growing your, building your soil from the top down, and I'm super excited about it. Just, for the fact that it's going to be a new product that people have really been looking at, and how, you can't build a crimper for a tractor and ship it to Texas. I can ship my Packer Maxx, from Michigan to Texas, in a box, with the frames in a separate box, and then I'll be able to put the cage in another box, and still have it be arrive right at your door, and for not, I mean, these big crimpers are going for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Well, that's in itself a ton of money. Well, then all of a sudden you got to pay to have it shipped on a truck, and then you got to have a forklift to get it off the truck. So, if I can dump one off at your door on a FedEx truck, it's going to, for a reasonable price point, it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people, and get them into something that's going to work really well, for what they're needing. So I'm excited about it.
Yes, sir. That's what we love to do here is try to talk to awesome regular guys like yourself who are trying to bring food plotting and hunting and the habitat management to our listeners for our, regular weekend warrior pricing, timing, do it yourself type stuff. That's what we love. So nice job, Lincoln. Yep. I'm very impressed. I can't wait to get that crimper. Let me know. I want to be there when the first one comes off the line.
Maybe you can test one of our prototypes out.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I think we've hit a lot on this episode so far. I'd like to ask you one more thing though before we wrap this up. What are your plans looking like for hunting this fall? I know you've been on a pretty good buck killing streak. It's July. It's July right now. It's going to be here before we know it. What do you got planned this fall?
Well, unfortunately, up to this point, our Michigan Newaygo County property has yet to produce a picture of a shooter. So, I'm going to probably spend some time at, I'm going to hunt the property with the family. That's above and beyond all, that's my mainstay. I love hunting up there with my boys, and my grandsons and daughters are going to start coming up and hunting, and my dad, I just enjoy the heck out of the time that I get to spend with my dad up there. And so, at the end of the day, if I don't have anything to shoot here, then so be it. And, we're still going to spend the time in the outdoors. We're still going to enjoy it and do the work and see what happens. And, so we're going to be hunting some, in Michigan, probably the most, the substantial amount of our weekend time. And then I'm going to be taking a trip down to Illinois to our lease down there. And then I'm going to head back up to Canada, assuming the border's open. So I'm going to go to Cook's Outfitting again. This will be year number 4. And he has put me on 3 giant Saskatchewan whitetails the last 3 seasons, and we'll see if he can pull off another great buck for me. So Chris from Cook's Outfitting he's just a solid guy. I've gotten to be very good friends with him, and it doesn't hurt that he puts me on big whitetails, but he's just a great guy, and I feel like when I left there last year, I shot my buck last year on Tuesday, I believe, and so I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we were out scouting, baiting spots, pulling camera chips. I saw some of the most beautiful, untouched Canadian wilderness that I've ever seen. And I feel like I left a part of my soul there when I left last year. And
wow.
I am so looking forward to getting back up there. So it's just an amazing, amazing time. And again, Chris he's just a great human being, and he knows how to put people on great whitetails. I mean, whitetails of most people's, lives, the biggest bucks that they've ever seen. I passed up last year. I passed up
right.
An absolute bull, and anybody would have been, completely tickled with that deer. And, but it just, wasn't quite what I was looking for. And then I was rewarded, the following day with the buck that I got last year. So,
yeah, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yep.
Because like Jared went to Iowa, and you're talking about that place in Canada like that, and also me heading to Kansas. Mm-hmm. And not to take anything away from hunting in Michigan or Pennsylvania, where I'm from, or any states like that, but it is nice just to end up in a spot like that and just to see a different style of hunting and just a different area where the bucks are just so much bigger, and they're kind of just being deer and not being pressured the way they are.
Yep. Well, yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head right there, because like I always say, so Michigan has 600,000 deer hunters, and the entire province of Saskatchewan only has 1 million people. And
right.
250,000 of those people are in Saskatoon. And so the whole province of Canada of Saskatchewan only has 750,000 people in it. And these deer are in their natural state. I mean, they are as unpressured as you can possibly get. And man, it's been incredible hunting there with Chris, and I just love every minute of it. And then last year, after I shot my buck too, we saw a Canadian monarch that we saw twice. And the second time we saw it, he came up within 75 yards of us. We're glassing this field, and it was easily a 350-pound deer easily. And it was, if it didn't go 190 inches, it wouldn't have been an inch. And I mean, it was just incredible to see that deer at 75 yards. He knew we were there. He could have cared less. And just to see a buck like that, that deer has survived wolves and cougars and 50, 70 below zero temperatures.
Incredible.
Just mind blowing. Like, you think even the buck that I got last year was 6.5 years old, and you go, good grief, that deer lives in this, one of the most brutal climates that you can be in, and it lived for 6.5 years. And to me, that was half of the trophy. And
no doubt,
it was a beautiful buck, but it's just cool. So I would recommend it to anybody. And like you said, going to Kansas is very similar in the fact that there's just not a lot of people. So
right.
Well, Lincoln, I wish you the best of luck this fall, my friend. Hopefully we'll get you on here for a nice game plan episode, do a few of those this year again. And,
sure.
Hope to see you soon, just in general. I mean, this whole COVID thing got me down. I want to get over there and say hi and check out the new digs.
Yeah,
so I'll be over that way soon.
Yeah, I'd love to have it. Yeah, I'd love to have you stop in and check out the new place. It's super nice. I'm so excited about it, and very fortunate to be able to make it happen. And I want to thank all the people that have supported me along the way in this endeavor, and my customers. You wouldn't be able to do it without any of them. And they are, I've been working with some of the greatest people in the country, and that's deer hunters, and just very fortunate. So I appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon, Jared. And I know, Brian, if you get over this way, man, I'd love to see you too. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And we appreciate everything you do for us and for the podcast and just your friendship. Yep. And appreciate your time coming on as always. And hopefully we'll keep you the number one returning guest.
That's a good place to be. You guys, you know what, I've said this before, you guys have done an absolute incredible job in bringing, this information to the John Q public that is trying to learn, and you're doing it in layman's terms, and you're bringing great information, great people onto your show, and just getting that word out there, and the things that you've done for our deer has been it's been groundbreaking, and so thank you for what you guys are doing too.
Appreciate that. And you have a discount for our listeners, don't you?
Yes. Yep. So we have, thank you for bringing that up, because all the Habitat podcast listeners, if you go onto the Packer Maxx website and use HPC 25 and plug that in the discount code, and you'll get a $25 off any purchase. So any cultivator.
Wow, that's awesome.
So just a little thank you for the listeners, and for what they're doing as well, making our deer hunting better.
Awesome, Lincoln. Thank you very much. You said that was HPC 25, correct?
Yep. HPC 25, Habitat Podcast 25, HPC.
All right, guys. Thank
25.
you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, Link. I think the fencing off the food plot conversation for a normal guy's budget is going to be huge. I think that's a great conversation part we hit here, as well as that the Crimper Cage you have coming. I mean, I love what you're doing. I'm glad you're doing
Thanks,
well.
bro.
You're nothing but a good guy, and you deserve the best, and I really appreciate you coming on. So thank you so much.
It means a lot to me, man. All right. You too. And again, thanks for what you guys are doing, and appreciate you having me on the show.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Thanks, Link.
You got it, guys. You bet. Have a good one, boys.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
I want to thank Lincoln for coming on. Thank you so much, man. It was always good catching up with you. Really, really love chatting with you, and I'm going to make it over your way soon and stop by, see the new shop. For anybody who's listening, please check them out at packermax.com. The rest of our sponsors would love your support as well. We have Killer Food Plots. We have HuntWise. We have Michigan Whitetail Pursuit. We have the Habitat Hook. We have Stony Creek Realty and Sound Barrier Hunting. Guys, we have discounts with almost all of these guys. Check them out. They support us. And, you guys support us as well with listening. So just thank you all very much. If you check out our website, we have our new land plan services up there, where we're helping landowners book habitat plans and come up with ideas for their property. We've written a bunch of those so far this year. We're having a blast doing it. Please check that out at habitatpodcast.com/land plans, or just go to habitatpodcast.com. You'll be able to see it up there with all of our hats and shirts and podcasts and everything else. Also, there's a new article in the Habitat Journal up there discussing deer anatomy and where to aim with your arrow. A little sensitive to me, or hits home. I missed out on that big boy in Iowa last year, so I'm really digging down and learning the deer's anatomy and changing my arrow setup and trying to get confident and getting real uptight with that shoulder. So it's a nice article written by our friend Al Tomeshko, and wish you all would check it out. Thank the sponsors again. Thank the listeners again. And if you haven't found us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher yet, find us on Facebook or Instagram and YouTube. We're coming out with a lot of stuff there. So, guys, thanks so much. Get out there, get spraying, get planting. Fall is right around the corner. Thanks for listening and tuning in as we become better habitat managers.